It's really disheartening when someone tells me that they genuinely believe social media marketing doesn't work. The platform itself works. It's working right now for thousands of businesses, but like anything, you need a strategy behind it. The difference between content that sits there doing nothing and content that fills your books, it's not the algorithm, it's the strategy, the message, and the mindset behind it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Beauty Industry Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy, a business coach, strategist, and your go-to for building an industry-leading, profitable beauty brand. And today I'm joined by my incredible co-host, the powerhouse behind Beauty Business Society. Hey, Elli, welcome back to the show. How are you going?
Hey, girlfriend. I am going good. I cannot complain. I've had a wonderful day. And yeah, we're here now doing another podcast. How have you been going?
I've been in Sydney, which has been really fun. I have been staying with my friend Jade. She owns Lash Wholesale. So been working out at the warehouse. I caught up with some people who I haven't seen in 2 years since we ran the beauty pageant in Sydney. So that was fun. We had a big night out at Bellevue Cottage in Woolloomooloo. And that's probably the only time I've been out all year, really. But it was fun. And then I'm heading back to Perth tomorrow. So this is kind of like the last trip before Vietnam. And I just feel like time keeps disappearing. Like, I can't believe it. We're already into the second quarter of this year.
Honestly, time is going so fast. And I hope you've enjoyed your time in Sydney.
Yeah, definitely eye-opening.
Well, I am going to be honest. I am seriously pumped for today's episode because instead of you doing the interview, we're flipping the script. And today it's your turn to take the hot seat. So we're going to be diving into your zone of genius, crafting marketing messaging that actually converts. And this is something you've helped hundreds of salon owners nail. And I know you've got some serious gold to share when it comes to turning contents into clients. So hit me with it, girl.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely talk about this all day. It's taken me years to test, tweak, and refine the messaging frameworks that actually work. And I say this because I really started my journey in marketing when I was around 18. So I've done 4 years, almost 5 years of just consistent marketing, and I've failed a lot. Launches haven't gone to plan. We've tried to sell out events and there's been crickets. And then there's other times where it's like, whoa, we got fully booked. I just sold out an event recently in under 72 hours. And after a while, you start to realize, okay, that didn't work. What can we try differently? And you start taking the emotion out of it and going, oh, I'm a failure, into how do we improve this? Why isn't this working? What do we need to do to actually get a better result? And so I want to talk about how you can actually start implementing different strategies or actionable tips so that your marketing can do the heavy lifting for you.
All right. Before we dive into the framework and the formulas, I want to start with the why. Like, why do you think so many beauty business owners aren't seeing results from their marketing, even when they're posting consistently or doing all the things that they've got to do?
Honestly, it comes down to one of 3 things, or it might be all 3 at the same time. Mindset, missing strategy, or misguided messaging. So let's start with mindset. A lot of beauty business owners are discounting their services out of fear, copying what other people are doing. They're procrastinating on putting the post out there, or they're just holding back because they're way too caught up on what other people think.
Yes,
so when you've got that mindset problem, you're actually cock blocking yourself from even taking action.
It's so true. I felt it myself.
And then you've got the skills gap. So you've got people out there, like you're saying, they're showing up, they're doing all the things, but they don't actually really know what they're doing. You know, they've never been taught how to build a brand, how to write compelling content, or create a marketing strategy that actually converts. So instead, they focus on the visuals. the really pretty photos, the trending reels, but it's missing the deeper layer that actually drives bookings, and that's your message. And then another huge mistake I see is creating content for other people in the industry, or worse, yourself, instead of the actual ideal client. And you see this in Facebook groups where people say, hey, I'm Sammy, I'm a skin therapist, I offer these services, I'm located here. If you want to book, send me a DM. And the amount of times that I just said me, there was no mention of you. How are you feeling? What are you going through? And so I think there's that element of it. And then there's also other people who create content almost to impress their competitors or other industry people. So instead of saying or using language that actually speaks to the ideal client they're trying to attract as a customer, they're using language that just does not resonate to that person and only other people in the industry would understand. So Ellie, when we look at an example for whoever's listening to this, if I were to say to you, I want to book a peel, like the average person doesn't know what a peel is, what it does. What other examples have you heard when people are just using this jargon that isn't familiar to the ideal client?
One of the really big ones is using the terminology that we know as beauty therapists, but not what they know as a consumer's perspective when it comes to that. And I think a lot of people, and this is something that we went through a lot at the start, was actually addressing their pain points and then going from there as to how they can fix the pain points.
Oh, definitely. I remember when I was doing lashes, I would see other lash techs put out content, and I did this myself before I learnt marketing, and I'd be like 0.05 5D volume lash set, and no one knows what does the 0.05 mean or the D or C curl, and it's really unhelpful for the ideal client. The ideal client is using words like fluffy, natural, full, they don't.
Right, yes.
Yeah. And finally, there's zero intention behind what's being posted. So a lot of people have no clear message, no call to action, and no strategic next step for the audience to take. And I'll just say this, it's really disheartening when someone tells me that they genuinely believe social media marketing doesn't work. The platform itself works. It's working right now for thousands of businesses. But like anything, you need a strategy behind it. So the difference between content that sits there doing nothing and content that fills your books, it's not the algorithm, it's the strategy, the message, and the mindset behind it.
Yes, the strategy, the message, and the mindset behind it. And like you said a little bit earlier, it's also knowing your ideal clientele and who you want to attract. I think that's such a big one because I know that I'm not necessarily attracting money hungry people. I want to attract people who want to make a change in their business and have a really strong culture. And when you have all those elements, the money will come. But if people come in hot on money, and I'm not going to market from a money perspective, I can sit here and talk about all the money, the businesses are profit and revenue, but I'm not attracting that ideal client. So I think really, attracting the ideal client with the strategy, the messaging, and the mindset behind it is the key. But what I want to know from you, Sammy, is how can beauty business owners approach marketing in a way that both makes sense and actually drives results?
So when I look at the start of my marketing journey, there's a few people that did not teach me good strategies, and then there were a few people that really hit the spot and completely changed my whole mindset and strategy towards marketing. Sabri Subi is hands down one of my favorite entrepreneurs and marketers. His larger market formula quite literally changed the way I approach marketing and business. So here's the breakdown that shifted everything for me. He has this pyramid, right? And at the top of the pyramid, it has 3%, which is representative of the 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. So at any given time, if you look at your audience size, you have 1,000 followers, only 3% of them are ready to buy then and there. So that's 30 people. Now, a further 17% of people are in information gathering mode. So they're trying to find out what kind of products are out there, what kind of services are going to work for me. They've probably added some things to cart or looked on booking systems. Like they're actively looking for information to get help for the problem that they're experiencing. Now, as you work down, you've then got 20% of people who are problem aware, but they're not actively looking. So it's like someone who complains about something but never seeks to get help. We all know someone like that. They're like,
Yes,
I keep getting sunburn, and they don't wear sunscreen. And you're like, come on. And then from there on, in the last section of the pyramid, you have 60% of the market, of your audience, wherever you're at, that don't even know they have a problem yet. And so when we look at this pyramid, we're going, okay, 3% are ready to buy right now, but 97% of people aren't ready to buy right now. Most of your competitors are fighting over the 3% who are already ready to buy. But the real opportunity is converting the other 97%, the ones who aren't even looking yet. If you can speak to them, educate them, and nurture them into action, your business will never be short of bookings. Because here's the truth, marketing isn't just about pushing for the sale. It's about raising awareness, shifting perspectives, and leading people to realize I need this.
What are a few different ways that people can go about it? Like how are you developing your own strategy? I thought I'd come in hot then, but it didn't work out for me. And now I know they just edit this shit. Look at me. I wanted to ask though, when marketing isn't about pushing the sale and it's about nurturing them and it's about educating them, what are your different strategies or different ways that you go about it?
So for me, I have found that it's really important to know exactly what it is you're selling, whether it's an offer, a service, a training, a product. The thing that you're selling, it needs to be popular, profitable, or the start of a journey in order for you to effectively get leads. And I think this is where people go wrong. They try to sell every single service in one post or piece of content. They're trying to market themselves as a one-stop shop, and it doesn't work. People want specialists. People want one problem, one solution, one outcome. And with your first step of any kind of messaging or lead generation in your business, you need to be really clear and strategic about what it is you're promoting. So the reason why I bring this up is because there's some people out there that I've had as previous clients, and they've got a whole bunch of services on their menu, and they're either trying to promote like 3 to 5 things in the same post, or they're trying to promote something that no one wants. And it's like, look at the sales data, look at your booking system reports, what's been selling and what is profitable as well. There's no point you selling a service because no one's booking it and you think you should get more bookings in it. Like, go with what's already working, what you enjoy doing, or what's actually making money. So the next thing I like to look at is, obviously you've got that one service, that one product, that one offer now. You've got to also look at who is the ideal client for that. And I'm not talking about the typical broad target market of like, a woman aged 25 to 40. I'm talking about who specifically are you talking to? Are you talking to the time poor mum? Are you talking to the busy corporate woman? Are you talking to a luxury and relaxation indulger? Or are you talking to the Gen Z, a gal in high school that's got a party coming up on the weekend? The reason why you need to know who your ideal client is there's types of language and jargon and words that will resonate more. So if you go, hey babes versus hey lovely versus hey queen versus hey ladies, hey women, like all of those words will draw in different types of people. Now, on top of that, the type of words they use to describe their problems or the things that they want are going to be really different.
At what point do you think, well, I suppose if it's coming from a business perspective, obviously every single person in that business has to understand the tone of voice and has to understand how they're speaking and all be in one place. But at what point do you personalize your business to who you are? Do you think through your marketing?
I think when you're talking about marketing messaging and really using that brand tone of voice and the personality, that always needs to be coming through, because with the personality, you'll attract people who also align to that personality. I think if you are really fun and bubbly, then you're going to attract people who are fun and bubbly. You're probably not going to attract the Karens of the world. But if you put out really negative messaging and you complain about everything, and we see this on the news in the comment section where everyone's like having a big dig, like attracts like. Ellie and I hit it off because we were both like professional yet very sarcastic and just off the beat, like humor. I don't know. It's just like you attract what you put out there. And so I love you bringing that up, because if you don't have personality or you don't have a consistent brand tone and voice, you're really missing out on attracting the dream people. And for me, when I try to explain to people what brand tone of voice and personality is like, you should almost be able to just read someone's text message or email or piece of content and hear it in their own voice. Now, if you have listened to all my podcast episodes, when you read my content, you probably read it in my voice. That is tone of voice. So when you are putting your marketing messaging out there, you also have to know, how do you want to be perceived? So when we've got the ideal client, it's really important that when we're creating the content, they're at the front of our mind, because we then need to move into the next phase, which is looking at what are all the problems that they're currently facing. So I like to dive into challenges, fears, and frustrations. But I don't just do this from a physical perspective, because, beauty, it's a physical before and after usually. I look at the emotional side. I look at the lifestyle and the convenience perspectives. When you can really identify someone's problem and explain it in a way that makes more sense or can be more clearly articulated by you than they can explain it, then they're going to assume and trust that you have the answer. So it's really important for you to know, for this product, for this service, for this offer, I have a person who is a perfect fit if they are facing these problems. Because in the next section, you've also got to think about, what are the solutions that I have for them? So this is really tapping into their hopes, dreams, and desires. So instead of you going, hey, I've got a service, here's 20% off, book now, buy now, it doesn't work. You have to look at, what is the problem that they're facing? What's frustrating them? What's upsetting them? And then through your product or service, how are you creating a solution for them? How are you tapping into the thing that they want? It really needs to bridge the gap from A to B. Now, you're going to have people in the industry who also have no idea what it is you're offering. They don't really understand it. And I'll give a great example. Before I went and saw a skin therapist for my skin problems back in the day, I actually had no idea what they did. I've heard the word facials, I've heard the word skin therapist, but I don't know what any of the treatments mean. Now, if you're telling me my problems, acne, flare-ups, picking up my skin, I get it. I relate it. That's what I'm doing. But then the solution is clear skin. You're going to be able to reduce your amount of breakouts. You're going to be able to have healthy skin. I'm like, that's language that I can resonate and connect with. So then that's where you introduce what your offer is. So explain what it is. Why should people care? How does it work? What can they expect? If you just present your offer, but people don't understand why they need it or what it's going to do for them, it's really hard for them to make a decision to purchase.
Or find the value in your offer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, on top of that, with your offer, there's always going to be people that have objections, right? There's misconceptions that they're bought into. They've also tried things in the past, but they haven't actually worked, or they have doubts and fears. All of us have experienced a client like this. They've gone and had a botched service with someone else, or they've heard, oh my gosh, lash extensions are going to make all my lashes fall off. Or, if I get this skin treatment, like my skin's going to break out and it's going to go way worse. Or if I get my brows done with lamination, all my brow hairs are going to be, on the top of my forehead and they're going to be way too fluffy. Like there's always these misconceptions and fears people have. And if you can actually handle their objections, you're going to be in a far better position to introduce how your approach is different and speak to your unique selling point, which is where a lot of people go wrong. They go, I can't stand out from everyone. It's a saturated market. And I think if you look at the objections or reasons why people are scared to book your service or they have doubts around it, and you introduce your unique strategy, your mechanism, your treatment approach, the products you use, the experience you give clients, that's when you start to make your value increase and also take yourself out of that saturated market. What are your thoughts on that, Ellie, when it comes to like defining your unique selling point and introducing how you do things differently?
Being true to yourself is number one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of business owners, like you were saying earlier, they genuinely copy other people. They're doing that, I'll do this. They're doing that, I'll do this. And they don't think about where they want to actually pinpoint themselves and be perceived.
And to add on to that, I think one of the things that is commonly missed or not done well is not having a call to action to really give people clear direction on what those next steps are to work with you. And so what I mean by this is if you say like book now, link in bio, it's not really going to inspire action anymore. This is why you've got to comment a keyword, DM a keyword, and then start that conversation in the DMs. Have a conversation with them, get to know who they are, what they're struggling with, how you can help, and if you're a good fit for them. And then you can send them the booking link. So a lot of people just kind of get lazy, I think, or they don't know any different, one or the other.
I think getting lazy is probably a main one, because even if I did get a message, even if I got a message in my inbox, one of the key differences is actually sending them a voice message.
100%. I think I weird people out with that, but then at the same time, my people that love a voice message, you just build that instant connection because it's like, oh, that's not an AI, that's not a robot, that's not a VA, it's actually Sammy sending the message.
Yeah, and she's touching point with me. And sometimes people don't think that you're actually touchable. So to actually have that point, like that first conversation via that platform like that when you're seeking new clients, I feel like that takes you from what might have been, oh, I suppose I'll inquire about this and see what it's like, to genuinely being like, oh, wow, I'm speaking to the person. So like, I'm going to take the next step now. Can you give us, Sammy, an example of some lead generation posts that have worked for you?
Yeah, 100%. So recently I was promoting a new event for Wild West Bowling. So I've called it Wild West Mixer. Essentially, it's an event where everyone can come. They can have a night of fun. We've got bowling. We've got a live band. We've got the bucking bull. And after launching one of these leagues recently and selling it out, I started to think, okay, how can I make one post, give them all the information they need, create FOMO and hype, and sell out an event? I sold this event out in less than 72 hours. There's about 125 tickets. And this is what I wrote. Albany, hold on to your hats, literally, because for the first time ever, we're bringing you a night that doesn't involve sitting at the pub, pretending you're having fun, hating your life at the club while DJ Spotify plays 2007 Pitbull remixes and waiting 2 hours for a taxi just to go home and rewatch Suits for the 6th time. Introducing the Wild West Mixer, a real night out in Albany. Social vibes, unlimited bowling, live music, and for the first time ever, the bucking bull is ready. Yes, it's been cleared by insurance. No, we don't want to talk about how long it took. Here's what's going down. 7 to 10 p.m., you're in. Unlimited bowling. No pressure, no try-hards, just vibes. Matzo's specials all night. 8 p.m., no hat, no play, hits the stage, playing bangers from Blink-182, Green Day, The Offspring, and more. Dance floor opens, half the lanes get shut down, the approach becomes a dance floor. The Bucking Bull Challenge, think you can ride it? We'll wait. Plus, Matzo's merch giveaways, 100 tickets only because this ain't some overcrowded sticky floor nightclub. No awkward convos, no boring small talk, just good people and wild fun. Here's why you should actually care. You're bored out of your brain. You've got mates who need a night out, or you just need to make some. You've never bowled while drinking ginger beer, headbanging to Blink-182 and watching someone get launched off a mechanical bull. Tickets are $30, Wild West Bowling, 3 Chester Pass Road, Arana, and then I put the date, the time. And this is how I sold it out. Now, I thought to myself, the reason why I'm good at what I do is because I don't copy what everyone else is doing in beauty. I just do the most rogue stuff and then I bring it into beauty and go, how can we apply this? Now, I want to read out one that my client posted. I gave her the exact same framework and structure, and then she applied it to her business, and she ended up getting 7 comments within the first 24 hours and booked these clients in. So I'm going to read out her version. She's a cosmetic tattoo artist, which is not easy. Cosmetic tattoo artists and skin therapists, I genuinely do believe it takes more time to convert. Lashes, brows, nails, they're easier to convert because it's an instant result, right? Whereas like cosmetic tattoo, skin, injectables, it's a bigger investment. So there's a larger amount of trust building and rapport that needs to happen before you can convert. So we were able to convert people straight off the bat with this. This didn't take 6 months of following and, I think you're really good and I'm ready to book. This was like spoke to them, hit them in the feels, and they went into book straight away. So this is what it said.
Hit me with it.
All right, ladies that are struggling with your brows, let's be honest for a sec. We know you've been saying that you'll book that brow tattoo appointment for weeks, maybe even months or years. But life keeps lifing, so instead you're stuck with constantly filling your brows only for them to not last the day, brows that just aren't what you want, regular maintenance appointments that you just don't have time for. Well, the procrastination ends here. Introducing eyebrow tattooing, where dreams of perfect brows come true. Each method is completely customizable to suit you, your lifestyle, and preferences. The perfect way to frame your face without the one-size-fits-all approach. Misty contour brows, a soft, powdery shading for a polished, makeup-like finish, perfect if you love a clean, filled-in look with minimal effort. Combo brows, a blend of hair-like strokes at the front and shading through the tail for fuller, more defined brows, great for those who want natural brows with a touch of structure. And nano brows, ultra-fine, natural-looking hair strokes created with precision to mimic real brow hairs, ideal for sparse or uneven brows that need a subtle, undetectable enhancement. Here's why you should care. Time and money saved, 2 very valuable things, very low maintenance brows, confidence levels through the roof, and people notice your brows because they are banging. I promise they will be looking at your brows in envy because they look that good. Only 3 spots available for May. First in, best dress. Comment, and then she had a little emoji there below, and I'll DM you the deets. Time to stop saying I need this and never book. So this was what Tash put up, and within 24 hours, she's got 7 comments on the post. She's got people reaching out to her. She did include some really great before and after images as well of her work, so people could see the different styles. Now, I will say normally I would only focus on promoting one service, but in her instance, she was promoting kind of the niche of services. So cosmetic tattoo, there's obviously different brow cosmetic tattoos that are more suitable for some clients than others. So this is an example of what will dominate in a Facebook group, what will dominate on your stories instead of saying appointments available or I'm located here. DM me if you're interested. It's not as effective. And I know for some people they go, that's so much writing and that's so hard. But honestly, I've spent the last 3 years building out plug and play frameworks for people to implement this seamlessly.
This is impressive, Sammy. I mean, when we actually look at the breakdown of it and when you've got that plug and play and you can see the structure of it, it all makes so much sense. And it also just speaks volume on the people that aren't even trying, like genuinely just like book this or appointments available. I absolutely love it. I love the way I love the personalization of it, like maybe even months or years. Like those things definitely have an impact on the difference between someone going for you opposed to someone who's just saying, book now, I've got this. And especially the photos as well. I always say to my clients, if you can't showcase good before and afters, sometimes it's as good as nothing.
Yeah.
We want the visual side of it as well, especially on social media and especially in our industry, especially when it comes to tattooing, what the before and after looks like. Where can people get this for starters? Like, is there anywhere that they can actually just DM you so that they can get this? Because I feel like I know so many business owners that genuinely need these plug and plays.
I'm actually bringing out a new training, and I'm calling it a training because it's not just a nice little course to purchase. It's a system that you can implement in your business. It's called Booked, Banked and In Demand. If you've been following me, you might have heard me speak about it a bit. Basically, it gives you all of the plug and play frameworks for creating stories that sell, lead generation posts in Facebook groups, how to have conversations in the DMs that don't get you ghosted and actually convert into sales. And then, of course, understanding how to retain your clients and have those sales conversations, which I know is something we've spoken about a fair bit. People that feel really uncomfortable when it comes to selling and ask the, do you want to rebook, and getting rejected, it's about reframing the way that you're able to have sales conversations and do your marketing in a way that doesn't even feel salesy. Like, I have been spending hundreds or thousands of hours really working on what works best for our industry. And funnily enough, it's nothing that people are doing in our industry. It's other strategies that I've taken from coaching. It's strategies that I've taken from bowling. It's strategies that I've taken from running a rodeo. And then I've gone, how can I apply this and bring this into the beauty industry? And I think that that's what my unique selling point is, taking the background of business and marketing and then applying the beauty into it. So when you've got strategies that are outside of your industry, it can be scary, but at the same time, it's going to help you stand out and lead to higher conversions, because it's not just working in beauty for my clients, it's also working outside of that. It's being customized for beauty because I have that background, and I know that it's going to change people's lives because everyone's stressed out, time poor, burnt out. They don't have time to do this. Or if they do have the time, they're wondering, okay, how do I actually spend the time wisely so I get the return on investment? So with this training, you get plug and play content and messaging frameworks, the custom ChatGPT bots. These do the heavy lifting for you. So you don't just get frameworks. I also have custom bots. And the reason why these are custom is I understand some people don't have the time. They really don't like writing. It's probably the best thing when it comes to writing their captions. They're like, I don't want to do this. And so with all of my frameworks and plug and play things and my best success stories, they've all been pretty much groomed in a bot. Like, you know what I mean? The bot knows all of that stuff so it can apply it. And then you've got real client examples of lead gens that have gone viral and troubleshooting guides of like text messages where people have lost the sale. I think the best part is that differentiates this is like learning how to hire a VA and then giving them this system so that they can do it on behalf of you. So you can either get your team member to do it if you've got it in-house marketing, or you can get a VA. And a lot of people say to me, I really want some help, or like, I don't know how to do it. And then they hire a VA and then they don't have any strategy, system, management in place, and they say it didn't work. This will work because I'm not just teaching you how to get the VA, but you're also teaching you the system. I know I just rambled for so long, but I'm honestly really passionate about this, and I believe it can help people so much with nailing their marketing messaging.
What's one thing that beauty salon owners can start implementing today to improve their marketing messaging and start converting more followers into customers?
Such a good question. And it's really simple. So get out a piece of paper. Yep, we're going old school. I want you to draw up a table with 2 columns. In the left side of the table, the column heading will be problems, and then on the right side, you've got promises. So for this table, I want you to pick one service and one ideal client. All you need to do in the table is list out what are all the problems that they're facing. So this is fears, challenges, frustrations. And then on the right-hand column, you're going to list out all the promises you can deliver through the hopes, dreams, desires, benefits, outcomes. So essentially, you're looking at this service and then you're able to list out why people would want it and how your service or your product or your offer is creating a solution for them. This table, it's like marketing gold. You now have direct messaging points to use across your Instagram captions and stories, your website service descriptions, inquiry replies and DMs, email marketing, sales pages. You can even give this to a VA. You can give this to your website designer. You can give this to your marketing agency. But if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you either haven't got a marketing agency or you've got a really bad marketing agency. But this is incredible. And I can tell you right now, a lot of clients that come and work with me that are in the high end, they've usually invested thousands into social media marketing agencies, 3 to 8K a month they're paying. And they're wondering, my Facebook ads aren't converting, or my website's not working, or this. And I think at the core of it, it actually comes down to copywriting. And that is a really incredible skill to master. If I were to ever look at like what made me successful in the early stages, it's copywriting. Copywriting is words, right? You look at marketing, you look at video content, you look at written content, website, emails, posters, service descriptions in your booking system. It's all words. And so I've spent enough time now refining and seeing what works and what hits the spot and why clients have been able to succeed and why other ones have really struggled. And it comes down to your copywriting. So if I could give you a piece of advice, whether you choose to do book banked in demand or not, it would be actually learn copywriting. And every time you come across launching an offer or a product or a service, look at what are the problems that someone would be experiencing and what are the promises that you're delivering. Because it's not about selling the product itself. It's about selling everything that product can do for you and the experience it's creating in their lives.
Honestly, the training course that you put together, I think it's going to be absolutely gold. And I think people are going to be listening to this with a notebook in hand, because I have yet to find anything that is as good as that. Let's just put it that way. As good as that.
I hope so, because honestly, this is the kind of messaging work that changes the game. And when you stop talking about your service and start speaking to the person who needs it, everything shifts. You attract better clients. You stop competing on price, and your bookings, they'll become consistent for you.
So good. And as always, if you've loved this episode, take a second to screenshot and share it to your stories. Tag us, beauty industry leaders, and let us know your biggest takeaway.
Thanks for tuning in. And remember, great marketing isn't just about looking the part. It's about saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. You've got this, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
See ya.
Audience exclusive.